Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. The International Monetary Fund is projecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be the second fastest growing economy in Latin America and the Caribbean this year, and the third fastest growing in 2024. The Washington-based multilateral outlines the projections in its World Economic Outlook for April, released on Tuesday. It expects real gross domestic product in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to grow by 6.6% in 2023, behind oil-rich Guyana by 37.2%, and Antigua and Barbuda is third with a projected growth rate of 5.5%. Tuning to 2024, the IMF forecasts St. Vincent and the Grenadines will emerge as the third fastest growing economy, with a growth rate of 5% behind 45.3% growth projected for Guyana and 5.4% projected for Antigua and Barbuda. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has projected growth of 3.39% for St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 2023. The IMF also projects that inflation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines will fall this year for the levels they have seen in 2022. It says inflation is set to 3.5% in 2023 compared to 5.8% in 2022. St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other countries around the world were buffeted by external inflationary pressures, primarily the challenges from Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. The IMF's World Economic Outlook is entitled A Rocky Recovery, outlining the downside risk facing sustained global growth. Though the Easter weekend was a very productive one with a number of community and family-oriented activities, it was spoiled by the shooting incident in Polyard, Arnesville, which left one man dead and another hospitalized. This is according to Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who during his weekly appearance on NBC Radio's face-to-face program this morning. The Prime Minister Gonsalves said the Polyard shooting incident came months after the last killing by firearm, which occurred on February 9th, and urged young men to restrain themselves from the fascination of guns.
And this taking out of anger, whatever the source, and where it ends up in shooting someone, killing someone, we have to stop it. The police can't be everywhere. The police have been doing their patrols and do it fairly effectively. But everyone has to have a patience and a calm. Not because you get angry or you lose your self-restraint, you have to go for the gun. There has to be something which holds you back, and that is something which has to be instilled from the family and the schools and the churches and the community, the mass media, the state, and of course with the appropriate legal framework.
Noting that he has seen the need for the death penalty for particular offenses, Prime Minister Gonsalves said that the proposal was made in the constitutional reform, but it was rejected by the people.
Unfortunately, because the law courts, both the Court of Appeal here and the Privy Council, decided that practically no one can be sent to the gallows anymore for murder, because it has to be the worst of the worst, and yet I don't know what is the worst of the worst, because there was a worst of the worst case with Compy Lyon, and that was the death penalty was voided by the Privy Council. Well, the Court of Appeal had done it too. The worst, the other cases, I don't know what the worst of the worst would be. I have oscillated between the death penalty and no death penalty, but for a long time now, certainly over the last dozen or so years, well, more than that, you know, I came to the conclusion that there are particular offenses that you need the death penalty for, and murder, not those of passion.
Prime Minister Gensov said the government and state will do all that is possible to help provide opportunities for males so that they do not resort to gun violence. In a news release issued yesterday, the police say they are conducting an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the shooting incident at Poliad, in which Jomo Birdie and John Dalloway were approached by a masked man who opened fire on them. They both sustained injuries to their bodies as a result of the incident and were rushed to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital for medical treatment. Birdie died as a result of his injuries on Tuesday, April 11, 2023, and Johnson remained hospitalized. Persons with information that can help with the investigation are asked to contact the police. Absolutely no FETs will be allowed at government, schools, hard courts, or playing fields. This is according to Prime Minister Dr. Gensov, who on radio today said he heard from sports personnel that a leaflet has been circulating that a FET will be held at a playing field, but this will not be allowed. Noting that FETs at these facilities have caused great destruction and cannot continue, the Prime Minister said church activities will, however, be an exception.
From some sports people that some individual has circulated some leaflet that they're going to have a FET there sometime. I just want to tell them and everybody else, there will be no FET at in any school, no FET in any hard court. Johnny P, they mash up these things.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
I'm just making it very plain. These things can take place in open air. You can put tents, you can do all kind of various things. Some can be held in open air. You just secure the perimeter properly so that people, when they come in to pay now.
Okay.
But we have to maintain these things properly. I know there's going to be a gospel event at the playing field, at the Chile playing field. That's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, Johnny P?
Yes, of course. Yes,
entirely different business.
Member of Parliament for the North Windward constituency, Montgomery Daniel, has called on the people living above the Dry River, the Robica Dry River, to work hand in hand in making the community stronger and better than before. He made the call in his address delivered virtually at the Ecclesia Gospel Band Thanksgiving concert held on Sunday, April 9, 2023 at the London Plainfield Sandy. The concert was held in commemoration of the second anniversary of the explosive eruption of La Soufrière volcano in 2021.
The communities were decimated. Almost all of the houses were destroyed. Infrastructure was battered. And we also had agriculture, which one can say was virtually non-existent at the time. But I've seen individually and collectively that persons have come out and work hard and honestly. The churches would have played their part. The government played its part. And other civic organizations, they too played their part, where we all came together, worked very hard, and did restorative work for the good of humanity. I am fully aware that all of the works are not yet complete. Yes, there are more houses to be repaired, more roads to be done, and of course agriculture to be rebuilt.
Reflecting on the damage caused by the volcanic eruption, Minister Daniel said that he is aware that more work needs to be done on the communities in the red zone.
Many hands make work light. And so I'm urging all of us, though we have done well, we have done much, but I'm urging all of us, let us continue to work together to build OTR at this time stronger and better than before. And as we rise out of the ashes, let us have at this time as our goal and our objectives to make OTR stronger and better before. Ecclesia Gospel Band is leading the way, and let us work hand in hand so that we can have a better way of life in OTR.
Meanwhile, head of the police division, Superintendent Henderson Ballantyne, thanked God for sparing the lives of the people in the red zone, especially the ones who refused to evacuate.
There were not much damages to the naked eyes from the impact of the eruption, but many house roofs suffered from the impacts of the heavy ash that fell on them. Hurricane Elsa also left a significant number of buildings needing repairs or renovation. The government has commenced a housing project to assist in those regards with the persons who are affected or were affected. Many persons are still in need of the appliances which were destroyed. However, we are thankful to God for sparing the lives of those in the red zone, and especially those who decide to remain behind. When I returned to all my visits, Georgetown to Oria was like a truly different landscape. It was like being stranded in a scary movie, surrounded by dust and ashy slopes, trees, houses, and roads. The villages were covered in ashes, inches of ashes. Instead of snow, it was airy. In fancy, it was a bit different. I was amazed by the beauty of the mountains.
Still on the local scene, environmental health officers and insect vector control inspectors will engage the general public through a project aimed at reducing the rodent population in capital Kingston. The project, which commenced on March 20th, will run up until April 27, 2023, and will target zones from the cruise ship terminal along the coastline of Rose Place, including Middle and Back Street in Kingston. During an appearance on the API's morning SVG program on Tuesday, Environmental Health Officer Ralph Williams said that there is an increase in the rodents, particularly rats, in and around Kingston, and the situation has to be brought under control.
A lot of the food establishment or food services establishment, during the preparation, the food particles, when we wash in the sink and enter the outfall, which is the drain, the public drains in throughout Kingston. Then you have the vendoring. Well, we have done a little bit of removing. The vendors have been removed to a different location, but we have vendoring and we have other activities that people sit down and they may eat and they may discard of their food. So based on that, the rats have food, three basic things. They have food, they build shelter, and that's it. And they will increase. And they could increase very, very rapid, very rapid.
The senior environmental health officer said that apart from educational sessions at government departments, businesses, schools, and food outlets in the city, they will be adopting other techniques to deal with the situation.
We have the setting of the beat placement. We have beat placement. We have a device to use to place the beat in area. Then those areas that have been selected is areas that we have heavy borrows. We may see drop-ins, and they may absorb the activities there. So they know the hotspot, so they'll use these bait and they'll place the bait, so that the rodent will, after time, the rodent, and give a couple of days, the rodent will feed on the bait. That is how, and they will be monitoring. The bait
here is poison.
Yeah, the bait is poison. The bait is poison. There are several poison, but the one that we use mainly is the anticoagulant.
Why that one?
That is, it prevent the blood from clotting. So it reverses the clotting of the blood. Okay, so when the rat eat it, basically when they eat it, it will bleed internally, and then it eventually dies.
Williams said he is confident that the insect vector unit would meet its objectives at the end of the project, and expressed hope that through the general public education, persons will change their habits in terms of food storage and disposal practices that may attract rodents, particularly rats.
This was not the first time that this project was done. We had some years ago we beat in town. What I'm concerned about for sustainable is that what measures you put in place through education, that the general public will change their habits that encourages rats. Okay, so you may well beat, and then you still have food establishment doing the same thing, washing the waste down the sink. So that is my concern.
Williams said a particular concern for the Public Health Department is leptospirosis, noting that annually they always have cases, but they want to keep it under control. Meanwhile, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, is engaged in the rollout of a regionally approved integrated public health surveillance strategy project across its member states, including here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Under one of the priority areas for this strategy, CARPHA is seeking to build capacity in vector-borne disease surveillance. CARPHA has partnered with the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to further build capacity in the control of mosquitoes and mosquito-borne diseases using new geographic information systems technology. According to the Agency for Public Information, the vector control staff at the Public Health Department will soon be using an electronic table-based GIS system to do premise inspections, which will replace the older, outdated paper-based inspection forms and modernize the operations of the vector control unit. Currently, CARPHA has convened a training at the Fisheries Conference Room, which will run up until April 14, 2023. The API said the overall objective of the training is to improve the ministry's ability to detect and respond to areas with high levels of mosquito infections and thereby significantly reduce the risk of arboreal transmissions, for example, dengue here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is expected that the CARPHA project will greatly enhance the integrated vector management strategy for the country and also provide better real-time evidence-based targeted vector control operations. The GIS training is being facilitated by Senior Technical Officer of the Vector-Borne Disease Unit, Rajesh Raj, and Cavicent Coordinator at CARPHA, Jenna Indraskam. Fundraising for the training activities is provided through the 11th European Development Fund, Zika, and other mosquito-borne disease projects. The area of Top Hill, Richmond is expected to join other notable communities as a significant player in the country's agriculture sector. This was announced as representative from the Ministry of Agriculture, as well as representatives of the Medical Cannabis Authority visited the Top Hill, Richmond area on Tuesday, April 11th. Under the Top Hill Lasham project, a road was cut, providing access to around 400 acres of land. The project will also provide some 47 farmers, some of whom are traditional cannabis farmers, with lands which they can use to be engaged in legal agriculture as well as the plant new crops. In an interview with the Agency for Public Information on Tuesday, Minister of Agriculture Suboto Caesar said this project will significantly boost the capacity of farmers to produce food crops, as well as ensure traditional cannabis farmers are fully incorporated into the medical cannabis industry. The Agriculture Minister said farmers in the area will also benefit from a wide variety of services provided by the Ministry of Agriculture, which includes tractor tilling and labor services, along with provision of seeds and urea. Minister Caesar said given the developments taking place on the leeward side of the island, this project will go a long way in not only bolstering the nation's food security as well as the tourism sector. Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Medical Cannabis Authority, Dr. Gerald Thompson, said the Top Hill area is earmarked for a Cannabis Authority field office, which will provide traditional farmers in the area with a variety of services. Dr. Thompson said the services which both the Ministry of Agriculture and the Medical Cannabis Authority will provide to the farmers in the area will go a long way towards giving them the Top Hill area a competitive edge in the agriculture sector. RSVG Police Youth Club Zonal Speaking Competition. The Police Youth Club in the Southeast Zone hosted a public speaking competition on April 23rd. The competition featured a prepared and impromptu speech for both junior and senior divisions. Parliamentary Representative for Mariaqua and Minister of Health Sinclair Jimmy Prince expressed in his brief remarks that the generation today prefers technology over social activities, and he is happy that the Police Youth Club is providing a platform for them to develop skills in other areas.
And I think that the Police Youth Club initiative will fill that gap and probably galvanize others to form organizations in their own interest, for their own development. The idea of a public speaking competition is a good one. I applaud it. I know it's going to help the young people to build confidence, because we can't leave everything up to the schools. Somebody would say that education and personal development is too important to be left to schools and teachers. Other people have to take part in the development of the young people. And I think that the confidence boosting element here is going to come to the fore, and I hope that the youth here who are going to participate will go into it deeply, and of course it will also help them to become researchers, and at the same time give them a breadth of understanding of not just their physical environment but also their social environment.
In the junior category of the competition, first place overall was Janae Samuel of the Mesopotamia Police Youth Club, who won the Best Prepared Speech, while Divine Haksher of the Stubbs Police Youth Club came in second. The Best Impromptu Speech went to Janae Matthias of the Bayabu Police Youth Club. In the senior category of the competition, Kenna London of the Stubbs Police Youth Club came out top overall. She was also awarded the Best Impromptu Speech. Second place went to Keyshawn Billy of the Mesopotamia Police Youth Club, who won the Best Prepared Speech. Here's a snippet of the first place winners in the two divisions of the competition.
There are societal issues that arise because of the limitations of the formal education system. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine with me a young woman named Crystal. Follow me here closely. Crystal is from a poor family. She sees her friends with their gadgets and her parents cannot afford to buy her a phone. So a friend offers her a phone and she enters into a relationship with him. She gets pregnant and is thrown out of the formal education system. She has a child to take care of, so she becomes a meal transporting drugs and guns. What is the main cause of this situation? Poverty and lack of education.
People, especially young people, seem to enjoy loud music. While this is so, I think that they are unaware of the dangers of listening to loud music. Loud music over time can cause hearing problems, damage cells, and even cause deafness. Children should be discouraged from listening to loud music. I believe that there should be a maximum level at which music is played, and failure to adhere to this should result in state penalties.